Okay, we're live now.
I want to welcome everyone to the work session for February 1st, 2021. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Present.
Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Young,
Present.
Commissioner Burrell, Commissioner Cawthorn,
Present.
Commissioner Gage Watts, Commissioner Talaferro,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Atkins,
Here.
Commissioner Chavez. I see Commissioner Chavez, but I did not hear you. Commissioner Lazarus
Here.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yeah.
You have 9 present and 3 absent, and you do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We'll have our invocation by Commissioner Chavez and our Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Cawthorn.
Thank you, President. Can you hear me? Just want to make sure my mute's off.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, guys. All right, everybody, please bow your head. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for waking us up this side of heaven. Thank you for all the amazing blessings that you've given us so far. Dear Heavenly Father, you say to pray for our leaders, so I ask for bless President Biden, Governor Edwards, our local team here, President LBJ, Parliamentarian Burrell, and Vice President Commissioner Atkins, that you give them the wisdom to run our country, our state, and here our local parish the way that you would see fit, Lord. I pray for these things as well as for what's going on at LSU, Lord, that you place your hand on the victims that are hurt, that are scared, and you give them the peace and the joy that only you can bring. I pray these things in your heavenly name, or your son's heavenly name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 All right, let us all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and offer the proper salute.
And at this time, excuse me, Commissioner, at this time, would you like me to play the song first or after the pledge?
After the pledge.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
United States of America. To the republic.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And that was the Ray Charles performance of America the Beautiful. And that brings us to agenda additions. And
I see we have two agenda additions.
yes, sir. Would you like me to go ahead and read the first of those?
Yes.
The first one is a potential agenda addition to authorize a special resolution of remembrance for Scott Perry. Scott Perry is a Rapides Parish longtime police juror who passed away over the weekend. And then the next item, 4.3, is a potential agenda addition to authorize resolution number 21 of 2021. It's a resolution proclaiming February as American Heart Month in Caddo Parish.
I'll move that the public hearing be open on both agenda additions.
Okay, would you like me to give a phone number out in case anybody would like to call in at this time?
Yes.
That phone number is 318-226-6596. Again, that phone number, if somebody would like to call for or against the expansion of the agenda to consider these items, that phone number is 318-226-6596. And I'll add, we have not received any electronic comments related to this.
Okay.
I'll second that,
Get
President.
a few seconds. Still no calls?
No calls at this time.
Move that the public hearing be closed on both of the agenda additions.
Okay. So did you want to take them up for consideration at this point?
Yes, move that both agenda additions be added to our work session agenda.
Second.
Second.
Been moved by the chair, seconded by Commissioner Everson to add both the agenda additions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Okay, Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell, Commissioner
Yes.
Cawthorn. Okay,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell, I heard you. Thank you. Commissioner Cawthorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts, Commissioner Talaferro,
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus,
Yes.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, I'm counting 10 yes and 2 absent. So that motion does carry to expand the agenda with those items, so the next item is where we would need to have a motion to approve consideration of items under Louisiana Revised Statutes 4217.1.
Move to approve.
Moved by the Vice President, seconded by the chair. Mr. Vice President, you want to say anything on that?
No, sir.
All right. Seeing no others, roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell,
Yeah. Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts, Commissioner Talaferro,
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Chavez, I didn't hear a vote.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Lazarus
No.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
Okay, so that motion passes with 9 in support, 1 in opposition, and 2 absent. And this is the point where I'd just like to remind you your certificate of teleconference is attached. No action is required for that, but it is attached at that point on your agenda. And that brings us to citizens' comments. Would you like me to go ahead and—
Do you have any written?
I do have one. We've received one electronic one, and then that phone number, if anybody wants to call in again, is 318-226-6596. We don't have any callers currently, but we do have one electronic comment that was submitted, and it comes from Mr. John Settle of Shreveport, who says February is Black History Month. It's also American Heart Month. Both of these national events are very commendable and much needed to educate our citizens. Black History Month is being celebrated by Spike Lee Joints, a retrospective at the Robinson Film Center. This 7-film series is sponsored by the Centenary Film Society. Lee is an Oscar Award winner and a widely acclaimed pioneer of the American film industry. American Heart Month is dedicated to providing education on heart disease. COVID-19 disproportionately claims the lives of people with a history of heart disease. A well-known feature of American Heart Month is the National Wear Red Day, which is this Friday, February 5th. This annual event unites millions of people to more awareness of the importance of a healthy heart. And that is the only electronic comment that we've received, and I see no more telephone calls that have come in.
We have 2 callers.
Oh, great. I didn't even see them come in. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Okay, I'm going to put you on speaker. You'll state your name for the record, then you'll have 3 minutes, okay? All right, hold on 1 second. You're welcome. You can go ahead with your comment, sir.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Ricky Travis, and I'm calling in opposition to this zoning because I live in Deer Creek subdivision, and the reason why I oppose it is because every time there's an accident on I-20, traffic is rerouted on Greenwood Road. We have one entrance in and one entrance out, and that's Greenwood Road. We are trapped, and if you all allow this business to come in, that means more traffic on our street. That's on Greenwood Road, and that would be a problem because there's a tire repair shop right at Bert Coons and Greenwood Road where we get on I-20 at, and there's constantly trucks pulling in on Greenwood Road in front of us, creating another hazard. You know, we don't need more traffic in our area, and I would appreciate that you all would not allow this rezoning to occur.
Does that conclude your comment?
Ma'am.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello? Oh. Do you, okay, you have a good day. All right, bye-bye. We don't have any more callers.
Thank you very much. And that concludes the public comments. Would you like us to go ahead and move on? Okay. The next item on our agenda is visitors. And under visitors, we have one item. It's a moment in Black history from Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Johnson, we can't hear you. It looks like you're not muted, but I'm not hearing your.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm back now. The
Right.
person that's going to give our moment in Black history today will be Dr. Michael Hicks, and he is on with us right now.
Good afternoon. How y'all
Dr. Hicks,
doing?
can you? We're good. We're good.
Yeah. Commissioner Everson, if I email you this PDF, will you be able to kind of share this slide? I don't think it's I'll be able to show my slide deck, but I can.
I could share. You can share your screen perhaps, but you're welcome to send it to me and I'll share the screen.
I'd prefer to share my screen if you don't mind.
You should have permission.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
We can.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say good afternoon, everybody. I can't thank you enough for just reaching out and well, first of all, Commissioner Johnson, for reaching out and asking that I share a little bit about CC Antoine as you all take pause and have a moment on Black history. I want to be brief, and I want to encourage everyone to engage in a little local history about CC Antoine. César Carpentier Antoine, as the French professors on campus refer to him as, was a Reconstruction era activist par excellence. A Frenchman, he was a New Orleans transplant. and he moved to Shreveport, established businesses, as well as had a monumental career in politics. And I think that's why it's appropriate that Commissioner Johnson asked that I share a little bit about him. As a state senator from Shreveport, he sponsored the charter or the legislation that ultimately gave the town of Shreveport its legal status as a city. And so when we talk about some of these men who we consider fathers of our city, it's important that we recognize C.C. Antoine in his in that role. As a businessman, he was credited with coming up with a way to provide perishable and non-perishable items to local grocers. Now, we're not talking about a time when people had automobiles. This was in the horse and buggy stages of our area. And so he was a monumental businessman who provided a vital service at the time to local grocers. As an elected official, I again spoke how during Reconstruction, he served with not only the respect of Black citizens, but as noted in writings of his contemporaries that most are written in French. He was respected by white and Black citizens. On that note about his writings, or rather the writings about him, there's a symposium in a couple of weeks by the New Orleans Historic Society that I'm going to be attending. And they're going to be sharing some of those translated writings of the Comité de Citoyens, or the Committee of Citizens, which was a Black Reconstruction era committee of mostly or mainly French-speaking Black men who combined their activist efforts to really change the course of Louisiana and indeed the nation. As a military officer, he was a distinguished captain in the Union Army. You know, a lot of us like to think that, as Gary Joyner puts it, we like to think of that Glory, that movie Glory with Denzel Washington, kind of that version of Black men fighting in the Civil War. But indeed, C.C. Antoine was amongst the first Black men here in Louisiana serve, and as a captain in the Union Army, he served with valor. I was introduced to his military career by John Andrew Prime, who years ago, when I first kind of expressed an interest in C.C. Antoine, taught me the distinguished career that he had as a Union officer. And so here's a little bit of the story that is continuing to unfold. Here's a historic marker for his house on Parent Street. And again, I know there might be some people who are more familiar with this, but I believe that the Office of Community Development with the City of Shreveport is engaged in a project to not only restore his home on Parent Street, but also to revitalize that entire area. Let me just check in, y'all, because I do a lot of teaching on Zoom. Can y'all see my screen? Are you seeing the historic marker?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Here is a monument, not just an ordinary monument. It's an obelisk, and an obelisk is an ancient African tribute to men of great distinction and valor. And so I've always been moved that right here in Shreveport we have an obelisk erected in honor of indeed one of our city's fathers. And so I encourage you. As a mentor and coach over the years, I've taken countless young boys to see this obelisk as a local and a direct example of what Black excellence is. And so I urge everyone on this call to go by C.C. Antoine Park, right on Milam Street, and read the words that are erected in his honor. Now, what does he mean today? Because I consider his legend to be living. You know, he is no longer with us, but his legend means something to people in this city. Pictured here are members of the Masonic Lodge named in his honor. It's a vibrant, thriving lodge, and they, like so many of us, take pause to honor C.C. Antoine. This is a picture from 2006, and this is probably in my more svelte days, but in those days I got with some other men in this community, and I said, we need to have a volunteer organization in honor of C.C. Antoine that can tell the story and continue to teach his legacy. I'm proud to say that we were recognized at the State House. I see Representative Burrell on the line. How you doing, sir?
How you doing, Michael?
Doing well, sir. Representative Burrell at the time coalesced with his colleagues, Representative Richmond in the background, who's now an advisor to the president, Representative Glover, Representative Baylor, the late Representative Avon Honey, and they allowed us to speak on the floor of the State House and indeed help educate other legislators, not just those from New Orleans and Shreveport, but throughout the state about his great legacy. And so, Representative Burrell, I want to thank you. I had no idea you'd be on this call, but I want to thank you for that, sir. You helped provide an impetus that gave us the power to really tell that story here with some credibility. Representative Burrell, you also signed a proclamation that day that made it C.C. Antoine Day. And so, gosh, I'm happy to see you on this call, and I'm glad I can extend my personal thanks to you.
Service.
Yes, sir. Now, his legend lives. Here's a backdrop from what was the third annual C.C. Antoine Black History Celebration. And so after 2006, when life in graduate school kind of pulled me away from that volunteer organization, Craig Lee, a community resident that I'm sure many of you are aware of, reignited that knowledge of C.C. Antoine. You can't see it maybe you can, it's right there. But one of the things that I hold in most honor was the fact that Craig, at the third annual C.C. Antoine recognition, gave my father and myself the C.C. Antoine Lifetime Achievement Award just for our efforts in education. And so, again, his legacy means something to folk. I put a few references on here. Of course, the great Willie Burton, in his historic book on the Black side of Shreveport, chronicles the life of C.C. Antoine. And it is indeed, as a young boy, I first discovered his legacy. Dr. Gary Joyner, who is chair of social sciences, history, political science at LSUS, has done a History Matters. And if you subscribe or listen to Red River Radio, you're familiar with his History Matters segments. I've put a link to enter into the record of the 5 minutes that he talks about C.C. Antoine. And I reached out to him last week, and indeed, just before I even knew about this opportunity, he's working on a civil rights trail that will include, in large part, the life and legacy of C.C. Antoine. And then last but not least, as a resource or as a reference, NSU in their Louisiana Regional Folk Life Program includes the life of C.C. Antoine as a distinguished member of our state. And so again, with that, I just want to say thank you for that opportunity, Commissioner Johnson. I hope that I've intrigued you all or with an appetite to learn, to learn a little bit more about who is, in my estimation, one of the greatest fathers of our city, C.C. Antoine. And with that, I'll answer any questions you may have. Yes, Mr. Atkins. You're muted, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Hicks. I enjoyed that overview of C.C. Antoine, and I was aware that he had been a senator and a lieutenant governor, but I saw on one of your slides that he was also an acting governor. Can you tell us the story about how he became an acting governor and how long he served in that role?
Yeah, he was only acting governor for, and I don't know the exact time. We'd have to turn to historians like the great Dr. Joyner, but I do know that in that time that he served as acting governor, he did issue some important gubernatorial orders. And so, again, it's why I've tried to reach out with Dr. Joyner to really learn that history. You know, at this symposium that I mentioned, they're going to be talking about Oscar Dunn and PBS Pinchback, who served as the first and second African-American lieutenant governors of this state. But CC Antoine serving as the third, and then as you mentioned, Mr. Atkins serving as acting governor, did us all a great service in not only moving this area forward, but really establishing that folks like me, who look like me rather, could ascribe to greatness right along with those city fathers who we think of, A.C. Steer, if you will, Clyde Fant. His name should be mentioned in that conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Hicks.
You're welcome, sir.
Commissioner Carthon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dr. Hicks. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Hey, man, I want to publicly appreciate you for coming in and giving that oral dissertation about the great C.C. Antoine. You did an excellent job. But I want to highlight to my colleagues that the Commissioner Atkins was just inquiring when was the time during C.C. Antoine at the acting lieutenant governor. And I want to make a notation. All of that happened during Reconstruction. And, which was 11 to 12 year period of time. And then after which, the South kind of took back over from the previous people. And then we have what we have. So you often hear people say he was the first something since Reconstruction. He was the first Black this since Reconstruction. And so I just wanted to put a footnote to that was a lot of amazing things happened during Reconstruction. And hopefully we can do a third one in the United States. Thanks.
I don't have a hand on my participant, so I don't even know how to raise my hand. It's not on my computer.
Hit the thing that say more, and then it's the first one. Raise the hand.
Some screens have been updated to have a button that says reactions.
Oh, okay.
And you may want to click on that one, and then it should get raise hand.
Okay. Yes,
I see your hand, Commissioner Burrell.
I just want to thank Michael too, and let him know that I appreciate you carrying on the work that we did some time ago. I think I was a legislator for the area that housed the church that he went to, which was out in Greenwood, and there's a bell that they use out there that they reference to C.C. Antoine, and from there, when we had that ceremony out there, it just kind of grew from there. And I'm not from Shreveport, but I probably know more history about Shreveport than a lot of people who live in Shreveport. That's because I love history. But again, I do appreciate your work, and hopefully we'll continue to do that when I'm long gone. So again, thank you.
Yeah, and you're very welcome, sir. And I appreciate you saying that too, Commissioner Burrell, because John Andrew Prime and Gary Joyner both were instrumental in making sure that the once unmarked grave of C.C. Antoine ultimately bears the headstone of a military veteran. And, you were at that ceremony. You were there as an elected official, but I remember talking to you, Commissioner. It seems like you were there as a historian as well. So, Mr. State Rep, I just want to thank you for number one, reminding me of that story, and just inspiring folk like me to keep this mission going. And, I'll say this before I go. I don't want to belabor the point. I know we have a couple other hands, but, Commissioner Atkins, I'll say this because I know, like me, centenary is dear to your heart. This is part of the history that is being taught here at this college. I'm proposing in about a year a deep dive into C.C. Antoine. And so, as I've approached the college with matters and issues like this, it's been met with nothing but welcome reception. And so, having served on a committee here at the college with you, I just want to remind you. I know some of y'all can see my centenary kind of swag behind me. I am in my office, but it's important that we note that a college here on this campus, in addition to Southern University at Shreveport, is very interested in preserving and maintaining the history of such a great and legendary man.
I got Commissioner Epperson and then Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
the Caddo Parish Commission a few years back also renamed General Motor Boulevard in honor of C.C. Antoine. That is now Antoine Boulevard. And also C.C. Antoine's grave is in Bethlehem's Baptist Church at the intersection of West 70th and Industrial Boulevard. So we have not forgotten about him over here, because I understood that he owned a lot of land, which encompassed all within that area. So we just want to make sure that we get every aspect of this historical perspective out today. Thank you.
Absolutely, Commissioner Epperson, and you're exactly right. The land that General Motors now sits on was once land owned by C.C. Antoine. And he, now the historians will have to check me on this, but based on my recollection of the record, he donated that land to the city. Now he could have sold it. I'm not sure. We'll have to check with Professor Joyner, but that was land that he owned, and you're exactly right. And I did not know, Commissioner Epperson, that name of that street had been changed. That's just, I think that's going to be the highlight of my week, just finding that out. So thank you, sir, for teaching us something that I'm sure not many of us were aware of.
Okay, give me a call if you would, and I'll put you in touch with them.
Will do, sir.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Michael, for the presentation today. I want to make sure that we recognize historian Willie Burden in his, he's deceased now, but he speaks to C.C. Antoine, his contributions in the book On the Black Side of Shreveport and The Black of the Berry, A Black History of Shreveport. And so is something going on?
Yeah, I'm just sharing
showing the reference.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen again, Commissioner Jackson, because you're absolutely right. His was the first reference that I listed. I've been influenced by the work of Professor Joyner, but it was picking up that book as a little boy and reading the history of Shreveport and asking my dad, who was C.C. Antoine? Who was this great man that Professor Burton described? So you're absolutely right. And I don't know if you caught it the first time, so I just
I just came back.
I
just came back, and I keep hearing Gary Joyner, and John Andrew Prime. But there's also, if you would add to your references, The Black of the Berry as well by Professor Willie Burden. And just want to point out that we are still working as a parish, as well as with our state senator, Senator Tarver, to recognize and bring to full fruition the C.C. Antoine Park, as well as his house, which is still in District 3, full restoration. Senator Tarver, through the capital outlay process, has worked to refurbish the home, and I believe the home the goal of the home is to be a museum for history. And so hopefully that's something, and we can use opportunities that you're working on, Dr. Hicks. I came in kind of on the tail end of your conversation, but we could use all of these as opportunities to create sort of maybe an oral history project or something, working in conjunction with Senator Tarver and the project he's working on, or the effort he's working on for C.C. Antoine Park. But this is great information, and we'll look forward to continuing to recognize particularly our homegrown Shreveport African Americans who contributed much to the making our country a better place. Thank you, Mr. President. That's it for me.
Let's see. I see no other commissioners. I just also want to say thank you to Dr. Hicks. I called him last week and said I need somebody to kick off a moment in Black history, and he graciously said yes. He talked a little noise, but he said yes, though. And I really appreciate you giving us a brief synopsis of C.C. Antoine. And we'll see how this February goes, because we have 3 more, a brief moment in Black history too. So thank you for kicking it off, and I'll see you later on.
Honored to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you, Dr. Hicks.
Thank you, sirs.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jackson.
Will we be doing one? Would it make sense to do one for a work session and regular session? So,
Yeah, we're doing for both.
okay, all right.
Okay.
Next item.
I'd like to move on. The next section is reports, and we do have a administrative report today. I believe it's
Yes,
attached.
sir. Good afternoon, commissioners. Pray that everybody's doing well today. Just a few updates that we have for you. The relocation of the Confederate Monument, the RFP was put out on the streets on January 28th. So you all should be aware of that. We will accept a response by 3 p.m. on March the 25th. And award of the RFP is estimated to be completed by April 21st. And preferably a contract will be issued to the removal of the monument in May of 2021. Working with the wording on the monument is scheduled for this Wednesday and Thursday. As long as the temperature stay about 65 degrees, we will have that done this week. The disparity study, all of the parties involved in it have already signed the CEA to go with that. Legal has approved the draft RFP, and purchasing is developing the dates to issue the RFP. Tentative advertisement date is February the 18th, 2021, and all of the RFP will be due mid-April 2021 on the RFP. The I-49 sign, we're currently, the engineer working on the project is walking the paperwork through DOTD for approval for the site plan and the location. Hopefully we'll know more about that around February 11th, hopefully this week, next week sometime. Also, an update on the U.S. Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program. We are moving forward with developing the procedures and the policy for that program. We issued RFQs last Friday to all of our local partners, and that is due back to us this Friday. As you probably are aware, I sent you all the letter that the governor sent Commissioner Chavez related to this program, and prayerfully that will be additional resources, and I'm in favor of getting all that we can for the citizens of Caddo Parish. Pretty much that concludes my report. I just have one other thing on the legislative priorities. Would you please get those back to me by February the 16th so we can compile a list for the parish and have it prepared for our legislators before the session start on April the 12th. And that pretty much concludes my report. Commissioner Johnson, unless you have some questions for me, sir.
You're muted, Mr. President.
Yeah, I do have some, but I see Commissioner Jackson's hand is up, so
Okay.
I'll let him go first, and then I'll follow.
Okay.
Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir.
Yes, on the box, I saw a news article, and I don't know if the news article just omitted it, but we agreed to also include Lift Every Voice and Sing on that. Is that going to be part of it as well?
Yes, sir. I think that's on the list, sir. It is.
Okay, I was making sure. I didn't know if that was a misprint by the article. I can't remember which article it was, but they didn't mention that. So I just was making sure on that. Also, on the I got the letter that you sent from the governor's office on their program. I would just encourage us, if we're going to go forward with that, to please separate, and we can have some more discussion if you like offline. If we could separate, I know there were some interest. There may have been interest from other programs, and President Johnson and we talked last week over some stuff. But I just think that if you run the two together, because what I read from the governor's letter was they wanted us to, well, if I read it correct, they wanted us to prioritize the folks who were in LaReep.
And the what?
And they wanted us to prioritize the LaReep applications. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think both programs specify the prioritization of those processes.
Correct. I'm saying, but would they want us to prioritize the LaReap applications from both pools of money is what I'm asking? Or do they want us to prioritize the LaReap applications from the pools of dollars that the state is sending?
Okay, Ms. Erica, you had to, one.
Dr. Wilson,
Go ahead.
yeah, so the state money, they want us to prioritize the Louisiana rental assistance just with theirs, not with both pots.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. That's what I was trying to figure out, because you could run into that's really where you'll run into the income prioritization issues, is because if you have somebody that applied back in, because if you recall, the LaReap program was rolled out, I want to say mid-summer of 2020. And that program was placed on hold because they just got so inundated with it. And you have somebody whose circumstances changed in the last part of last year when Louisiana moved back to the modified phase 2. Then you could get into, well, this person may have not applied for LaReap, but their income situation is more pressing than somebody who may be in LaReap. And so maybe that's where those other organizations that were mentioned, I believe CCAA and maybe Catholic Charities, could probably fit in into that, Dr. Wilson. So that's just, that's just kind of just FYI. I'm glad that they are looking at working with local governments. I heard that the mayor of New Orleans has some very colorful words about the first idea that was tossed out there. But yes, so if you could just something to consider to separate those two pots of monies out. I know that they're the same program, but I think running the two together may, if you start prioritizing the LaReap issue, I think that's where you could run into some prioritization issues, because folks' financial situations have changed since they rolled out LaReap or LaRep. I can't remember how it was pronounced.
Okay. Duly noted, sir.
Thank you, sir. That's it for me, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right. Don't see no one else. But Dr. Wilson, just going back on your timeline on the Confederate Monument.
Yes, sir.
You got the RFP already went out, and the deadline for that will be sometime in February or March.
It's March 25th.
All right, and then you'll award the winner in April. I thought I heard you say.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
What day in April?
We don't have a date yet, but we're shooting for April in our schedule, and then with the approval of any contract signed by May of this year.
Okay, I just wanted to know why the difference in the days between the March 25th and April, and then why it would take another month to award and then get it start to get it removed in May. It seemed like a lot of days and they're wasted to me.
Okay. Okay. It's a schedule. It may change certain things, and also something's go faster too than what we estimate here.
Okay, so it can't be tightened up. There's not written in stone.
Yeah, once we get all the RFP back, we know things will start picking up, and then we'll do the selection based on the criteria. Then we'll move forward trying to get a signed contract to actually get the work done. Okay.
So, I mean, in making the selection, we can actually make a selection within a week based upon information given?
Yes, sir. If we get all the inputs back. Yes, sir.
Okay. And then once we make a selection, then we can authorize them to start working pretty soon after that?
Yes, sir. We would, as long as the contractor demonstrate the capability to do everything and well within the budget price and those factors, we'll look at that. Everything is as go.
Okay.
They need time to mobilize, of course, and then get things moving.
Okay. All right. I just, based upon that time, I just seemed like it's getting pushed further back. So that's why I was asking the question.
Okay. No problem.
All right. Commissioner Jackson.
And I'm just curious, and I may be wrong, but aren't we still under emergency orders? Can't some of this stuff be moved up and expedited as long as we're under emergency order? Or does the emergency order have to be pertaining specifically to that?
I don't know if this pertains to that, sir.
Okay.
I mean, emergency is anything that impairs our operational ability to do something. And this movement in this monument does not impair anything that we have going on personally that would constitute an emergency.
Okay.
But,
I just thought, I thought I remember when there was an emergency declaration in place. I didn't know if it had to be related specifically to what you got going on. I just remember that certain provisions in the bid process could be. Attorney Frazier, Bernstein.
Yeah, we do emergency actions, but I don't know if this rises to the point of it being an emergency.
This is Donna. It's actually not a bid process. It's an RFP. So the bid laws, it wouldn't qualify as an emergency under the bid law because it's not related to the pandemic or the emergency that we're currently having. And then it's not a bid, it's a proposal. So the regular timeline applies.
Okay. But the parish president can declare emergency, right?
Not for the removal of the monument.
Okay, all right. All right, that's it for me, Mr. President. I was trying to see if I could speed the timeline up for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna be working it. Don't worry about it. Next item.
Okay, the next item is commission remarks, communiques, and other items related to the work session agenda. Did we kind of get those out already?
I don't see anyone. We can move on to the next item.
All right, our next item is the president's report. Did you have one today?
We'll do it Thursday.
Perfect. And the next item is old business. We have no old business to attend to today. So that brings us to new business, where we have a few items. The first of which is 11.1, authorize the introduction of ordinance number 6030 of 2021. It's an ordinance declaring the intent of the parish under Louisiana Revised Statutes 47:2236 to acquire full ownership interest in 5 parcels, namely Lot 5, Block 14, West End Subdivision, Shreveport, Lot 11, Block 14, West End Subdivision, Shreveport, Lot 10, Block 14, West End Subdivision, Shreveport, Lot 20, and the east half of Lot 21 of Block 1, Curry Subdivision, Shreveport, and Lot 7, Block 9, Curry Subdivision, Shreveport, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Move for introduction.
Second. It's been moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Johnson to advance ordinance 6030 of 2021. Commissioner Jackson, you want to speak on that?
Yes, very briefly, since I know that we have some new commissioners, this is an ordinance that is in line with our, I think we call it Reinvest Caddo now, program where organizations, whether you're nonprofit or for-profit, and you have more than 2 or 3 contiguous, or 2 or 3, I don't know if it has to be contiguous, but if you have 2 or 3 lots that have been identified and you want to redevelop or do some type of redevelopment purposes on it. This group, People of Praise, is doing a great job in District 3, revitalizing the area. I encourage you, if you're just riding through, to go over. I believe they're on Harvard Street, Yale. There is a Harvard Street and a Yale Street in Allendale, or Lakeside. James Stewart would correct me. But they own a school there. They have what's called a live and learning community right there in the neighborhood. It's not a high crime area. I actually stumbled up on the area as I was out walking, campaigning back in 2015. And I learned about this group, this organization, and they're doing a great job. A lot of them come from Indiana, but they set up shop here in Shreveport, and they make Shreveport their home. And they come in and they really immerse themselves in the community. And so they have some lots centered around them, and they like to redevelop it and repurpose it. And so that's what the goal of that program is to do. And they meet those. I believe this is Is this a 2-reader or a 3-reader, Attorney Bernstein?
It's just
So
basic. It's just a 2.
Okay, so this is the process that we go through to, they have an option to either buy the property completely outright once we go through the 2 readings, or they have the option to, the parish can donate the properties if they're a nonprofit. So this is a great thing for the community. And I would encourage, if you know other organizations who are developers who may want to do development in our community, to take full advantage of this particular opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Jackson answered my question. Thank you very much.
All right, Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you. Stephen, again, where is this property located? I know where
yes.
Yale and Harvard is. It's well, off of, I think off of Laurel, isn't it?
It's probably easy to get to it off of Murphy.
Okay. And is it near Westwood or?
Westwood? You mean West Shreveport?
West Shreveport.
Yes. It's not too far from, if you take West Shreveport going east, you just hang a right onto I want to say it's either Laurel, not Laurel, it's either Harvard, Yale, or it could even be Oxford. It's one of those 3, but I believe it's either Harvard or Yale. But I know they own properties, and the city of Shreveport has donated properties to them throughout the years as well, to help actually get them started. Is who the city of Shreveport helped seed the project to get it started.
And you said that they are associated with a particular church?
Now that I don't know. You might have to ask Henry or Jimmy about their church associations, but they're called People of Praise. I forgot that they do have a church affiliation, but it's like a national church affiliation. I don't know if it's Church of Jesus Christ. I'm not sure, but People of Praise is kind of their nonprofit arm, mission arm that they go out and do work in the community under.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess to our conservative or Republican colleagues, they do have a affiliation with most recent Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett. I learned that during her confirmation process. But please don't. This doesn't have any bearing. Don't hold that against this, whatever the political affiliations may be.
Seeing no one else, roll call, please.
Okay, Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Talaferro. Commissioner Talaferro, I didn't hear your vote.
Yes, sir, voted.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Atkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Yes.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And that brings us to the next item on the agenda, and that is ordinance number 6031 of 2021. It's an ordinance declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and to authorize the parish administrator or a designee to sell the parish of Caddo's tax interest in certain surplus adjudicated properties and otherwise provide with respect thereto, also in District 3.
Motion to postpone this one. Motion to postpone.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Jackson and seconded by Commissioner Chavez.
Hopkins.
Hopkins. Okay. Commissioner Hopkins to postpone ordinance number 6031 of 2021. Mr. Jackson, you want to speak on that motion?
Dr. Wilson, or I'm not sure if Henry, if y'all could, we normally I don't see the map. I didn't see this one when I looked over the agenda. I don't know how I missed it. We normally have a map, and I usually will go by and I'll get with y'all on them.
Okay.
I don't see them. If y'all can attach the map and then because I don't want to move them forward and then take some off. If y'all could get me the map, and then I can, by the next meeting, I will have gotten with you. I didn't know this one was coming on. Was this one we discussed, Henry, or something? Or
No, sir. This is one the citizens submitted applications to
Okay.
purchase the property according to the state statute, and so that's
Okay.
what it's doing on the agenda. Because as you recall, District 3 was accepted from the ordinance with regard to disposal of adjudicated property.
Okay. If y'all could, if we could get the map, and I'll go through there, and next meeting we just can postpone it to next meeting, and we can follow up from there. Because I think we agreed that when we do them, they can just go on through the what's the online thing.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, Commissioner, we give them the option because the online thing, it does cost more.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So were you suggesting to postpone this, or simply to wait and have the maps before it was considered on final passage?
Yeah, we can postpone it. I mean, I'm good postponing it. Or what does postponing it do? They're not up against a timeline at this point, are they?
Not that I know of. I don't know if anybody from Public Works knows the status of it, but to my understanding, it's not a timeline thing. It's just a question of whether or not we wait on introduction.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could be perfectly fine with them, and then from there, we just move them on through. So yeah, we just postpone for 2 weeks. And we normally have a map, but I don't see the map on here.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get a map for you.
Okay, because I would have probably been able to tell you today, but I don't see the map. So if I can get a map, I'll be good.
Yeah, we'll get with Jimmy on that one.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Burrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts, and I'm sorry, Commissioner Taliaferro,
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus,
Yes.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And that brings us to the next item on the agenda, which is to authorize the introduction of ordinance number 6032 of 2021. It's an ordinance to accept an additional 375 feet of the dedication of Paxton Road into the Parish of Caddo road system, and otherwise provide with respect thereto. And this is in District 10.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, guys.
Been moved by Commissioner Chavez and seconded by Commissioner Atkins to advance ordinance number 6033. Commissioner Chavez, you want to speak to your motion?
President, I went and met with Jimmy. This has been built up to standards. They're just going to accept in the system. Very small section, 375 feet. So we'll move it to Thursday and vote on it. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, President.
Yeah, I'd like to make a substitute motion to englobo and advance ordinance number 6032 and 6033 of 2021.
Second.
Been moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Chavez to englobo and advance ordinance number 6032 and 6033 of 2021. Roll call.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn. Commissioner Cawthorn, I didn't hear your response.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Gage Watts, Commissioner Taliaferro,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Atkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus,
Yes.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And that brings us to ordinance number 6034 of 2021. It's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund in the amount of $15,000 to provide an appropriation for Norwella Council, Boy Scouts of America, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Move to
Move to advance.
advance to.
Second.
Been moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Jackson to advance ordinance number 6034 of 2021.
Mr. President.
I made the motion. Well, I basically made the motion since Commissioner Gage Watts wasn't here. This is something that she called and talked to me about during our NGO process. The Boy Scouts were going through a lot of problems. Seemed like some of those problems, well, the local chapter, the local council rather, hadn't really been going through those problems. And so she wanted to try to see if we can actually give them some money to help them out on some of the things that they are doing for the young boys in our community. Commissioner Jackson, you want to say something?
Yeah, Mr. Clerk, if you could please add me as a co-sponsor. I believe the Boy Scouts is in my district. I'm not sure why Miss Cynthia didn't reach out to me, but if you could, please add me as a co-sponsor. And I'll be in touch with them as well.
Commissioner Telefero.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Did they come to the commission with a specific amount for a specific need or a cause?
Yeah, they actually did fill out an application last year. So they do have an application on file. It's just that the committee at that time didn't see fit to add them to the number. But Commissioner Watts would like to add them to our NGO process for 2021.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Seeing no other, roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Taliaferro.
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Yes.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And just as an aside, it does look like legal did provide a map of those adjudicated properties, but it didn't get uploaded to the agenda. So our apologies to that, but we do have that available and we can distribute that shortly. That brings us to the next item on the agenda today. That is authorizing resolution number 20 of 2021. It's a resolution condemning the January 6, 2021 attack on the United States Capitol and otherwise provide with respect thereto from Commissioner Epperson.
Move for Thursday's agenda.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Epperson, seconded by Commissioner Jackson to advance resolution 20 of 2021. Commissioner Epperson, you want to speak to your motion?
No, sir.
Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. While I condemn the attacks on January 6th, I'm not supportive of all the wording in the current resolution. I've talked to Commissioner Epperson about changing some of it, but he likes it in its current state. So we can just move forward and do a vote as it is currently. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I see no one else. Roll call.
Commissioner Hopkins.
No.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
No.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Taliaferro. Commissioner Taliaferro, I didn't hear if you.
No.
Okay. Commissioner Atkins.
No.
Commissioner Chavez.
No.
Commissioner Lazarus.
No.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion does not carry. It looks like we have 6 in opposition and 5 in support and 1 absent. I believe I called that correctly. If you think I may have misheard your vote, please let me know, but that is what I heard. That moves us to the next item, which is authorize addition of a moment in Black history to the February 2021 agendas. And this is just so we can add this to the regular sessions and the work sessions for the month of February.
Move to advance.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Johnson, second by, was that Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have nothing. I see no one. Roll call.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Burrell, I didn't hear your response.
Hello.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
Doing good.
Thank you. Henry, I think you're unmuted. Commissioner Cawthorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts, Commissioner Taliaferro,
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus,
Yes.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And that brings us.
Mr. Clerk, this is the attorney. Before you go ahead, I just want to point out that because your agenda already allows for visitors, if someone was invited to provide these moments under visitors, there was no need to actually have a vote on it. And to actually change your agenda order requires an amendment of the bylaws. So I just want you to know that if this comes up again in the future under an agenda item that you already have under the agenda, a vote is not necessary.
So my understanding was that in order to add a item to the regular session agendas, a vote was needed to take that. That is how it was done in the past.
I'm not sure that that is correct because you have an item for visitors under your regular agenda items, and it's not been your custom to have the commission approve visitors that are invited.
Okay, I thought I had seen differently, but I will review that. Okay, that.
Well, at one time, hold on, Joe. At one time, we used to have in our work session that we would have visitors for that our regular session, that we would actually advance that from our work session to our regular session. We did do that for a while. I know for the last 9 years that we did do that. So I don't know, that could have played it for that last year that we didn't do it. I don't know, but that's what we used to do. But I think we're ready to vote. Well, we already voted, so we're going on to the next item. Yeah.
The next item is
we're gonna keep it moving.
The next item is a special resolution for Scott Perry. It's a resolution.
Move to advance. Move to advance that one, and also to move the to advance the Heart Association resolution as well.
Second.
Been moved by the chair, seconded by Commissioner Epperson to advance both the resolution on Scott Perry and on the Heart Association, American Heart Association. Seeing no questions, roll call.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts. And Commissioner Taliaferro.
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Yes.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 in opposition. And that
Mr. Clerk.
Yes.
On the Scott Perry resolution, I would need 2 of those. We're gonna give one to Rapides Parish, and then the other one will go to his granddaughter that's here in Shreveport.
Okay, great. If you could get me her name, I will make sure that we get a copy to her as well.
Well, I can get it to her, but I
Oh,
just want
okay,
to make
yeah.
sure we have one in Shreveport and one in Rapides Parish.
We'll produce two
Thank you.
duplicate originals. Thank you.
Okay. Next item.
Okay, the next item is communication committee reports.
Going once, going twice. I figured we have someone. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. Dr. Wilson, I sent over a thing for Public Works over off of Wells Island Road. Do you know if Tim is on, if they got a follow-up update for me?
Yeah. Dr. Ward is on the line.
Oh, okay, my bad. Dr. Ward.
Dr.
Tim
Ward?
don't come to the meetings anymore?
What's that?
Yes,
Tim
sir.
don't come to the meeting since he got promoted now?
He's on the line most of the time.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yes. Hey, Dr. Ward, do you have an update on what Commissioner Jackson's requesting from you?
I unfortunately am not familiar with it. If he sent it on to Tim, Tim didn't forward it to me.
Oh,
Commissioner
man.
Jackson, can you tell me anything about it?
Man. It was something, it was a public works issue that was going on.
Okay.
Ms. Montgomery forwarded to me and I forwarded over to administration to take a look at, to follow up with them. Damn, I always thought public works was like Superman.
Well,
and women.
well, we usually are, but sometimes
they are.
Or I've been blackballed, Dr. Wilson?
No, sir.
Oh.
No, sir. We just have to readdress your issue for you, Commissioner.
I'll resend it over.
if I can get a copy of it, we'll look at it. I'll respond back to you tomorrow, Commissioner.
Okay, and I appreciate that. That's it for me, Mr. President. Oh, and we did have a pandemic meeting, went very well. Again, I'll echo what Commissioner Epperson said at the meeting is I appreciate the Commission President for having the foresight to put our pandemic response, disaster response. Seems like we are always in a state of something, some type of emergency. So it seems like that type of ad hoc committee is needed. Very good information from LSU Health Science Center. And we'll continue to get updates. If we could, Dr. Wilson, reach out to Dr. Martha White with the Region 7 Public Health. If we can start discussing, because what I would hate to see is, from what I'm hearing, is that by spring or by late spring or early summer, vaccinations may be readily available. And so if we could start the process of planning and mobilizing and how that's going to look, what that's going to be like, as opposed to letting it get here didn't happen. It seems like I had some conversations with Dr. Golly. They're very open to collaborating. What I see is Christus, Willis Knighton, Ochsner's, and LSU Health Science Center right now collaborating to get those vaccinations out right now. And it's a beautiful sight, particularly what we saw over at Galilee last Thursday, and they have expanded to more sites. The vaccinations don't need to be sitting idle. And so what they've decided is they're going to get them out as quickly as they can, following the tiered guidelines that are in place. If we can also start to have the conversation, Dr. Wilson, about parish employees getting vaccinated. I know there's a lot of.
Yes, sir. We have a list already for parish employees already signed up for it.
Okay, because I know there's always conversations about when are we going to get back out, and you know, I had to decline 2 or 3 opportunities to go to events last week because, you know, the reality is we're still in a pandemic. It's still not safe. I'm young and healthy. I may be asymptomatic, or you just never know who you're spreading things to and how it's spreading. So I'm always trying to lead by example. But if we could start formulating and having discussion with our public health officials, as well as our Homeland Security designee.
Yes, sir.
If we can start just having that discussion about what that's going to look like, what resources. I heard at our meeting, Dr. Kelville talk about the big refrigerators So, and President Biden has indicated that he wants local government to play an integral role in mobilization when it comes to vaccinations. And so the reality is, looking at the weather, spring will be here pretty soon. And so we just want to be ready, and we want to be able to put our best foot forward when it comes to that.
Yes, sir.
That's it for me and my committee report, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no one else. Next item.
Sorry, the next item is the citizens' comments, late arrivals. Would you like me to go ahead and give that phone number out?
Yes. Yes.
318-226-6596. And Michelle, if we have any callers, let me know, but I don't believe we have any currently on the line. Again, that number is 318-226-6596.
Give them a few more seconds. If no one calls in, we'll move to our next item.
Not hearing any calls.
Next item.
Next item is your consent agenda.
Move to adjourn.
Who is that?
That's hour and 15.
Second.
Who made the motion? I couldn't tell.
Jackson.
Jackson made the
Moved by Commissioner
motion.
Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Lazarus to adjourn. All in favor? Thanks.
Aye.
See everybody Thursday.